Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we're talking to the Caudle brothers and Geoff Jenkins. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands. I'm talking to Mike and Phil of Caudle Brothers Music and Geoff Jenkins. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Excellent. So,
doing great.
Yeah, awesome, cool. You know, I was just talking to Mike before we got started that it's been like a couple hot minutes since I've seen you guys. Geoff, I think I ran into you in when you first moved to Ann Arbor, maybe like 5 years ago. I don't know, or 6.
2017. Yeah.
Oh shit! So it's been even longer.
Yeah,
so
dude.
that was the last time I saw you.
Yep.
And you're right here in town with me. And Mike was at the Speedgod show, which I think was the Avenue in 2016. So that's going on.
Yeah. Well, you guys played after the minor played.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And actually, I haven't. It's funny. I was thinking about when I was this opportunity when we were ready to put the song out. I said, "What's the last time I put music out?" And it was the Speedgod demos in 2013.
Oh man! Holy crap! So, so it's been 11 years. Holy shit. Wow. And I was telling Phil that I get to meet him virtually. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being on Fans with Bands. Geoff, you had reached out to me and told me about the collaboration project you were working with Mike and Phil on the song Creation Transcended, and I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy of that thing. Holy crap, what a tune you guys have created. I mean, it was mesmerizing, this mesmerizing progressive metal tune, tons of power, great melodies, all these little nuances. I found myself, like, the very first time I listened to it, I was pulled into it, and then I just wanted to keep going back to it because one, it's a long song, and you can just get into different aspects of the melody that your guys is playing. Geoff, your vocal performance, all those things, they all come out. It's a fabulous tune. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how did this collaboration start? I'm hoping this is going to be an awesome story.
Yeah. So I had actually started writing the song back in 2022, which is the last time. February of 2022 is actually the last time Mike and I put out anything substantial onto YouTube. And I like wrote it in a fit of inspiration inside of Mike's living room. He remembers the exact moment when I finished it. And then we kind of just sat on it. I went through some job transitions and stuff like that, just different things that kind of get in the way of doing something like this, a 9-minute progressive metal feat. And we were just starting to kind of talk about getting back into things and recording. And I think Mike and I actually had the rhythm tracked. So we had the guitar rhythm tracked. And I believe, Geoff, you just hit Mike up and asked if we were working on anything because you were like getting the juices going and you just wanted to find something to be on.
Yeah, I think I was just putting out clips of me starting to do vocals on stuff again. And I think Mike and I somehow ended up messaging one another, and he was kind of like, "Hey, do a song with us." And I said, "Send me a song," because that's usually my first filter for anybody that's like, "Let's do a thing." I'm like, "Cool, send me a song." You don't ever hear from him. You go, "Cool, let me work on what I was doing." But dude, I'm serious. It was like 5 minutes later, Mike sent me this 8.5 minutes long song. And I listened to it for a second, and it's all done in Guitar Pro. So it's all like MIDI stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It was beyond me, like legitimately. I'm totally gonna blow smoke up their ass about it, but it was beyond me. Like I really had never. We can dig into that if you want, but I had never been given something like this and been given free reign. with something that was so well thought out. Usually when people are that thought out about it, at least in my experience, they're pretty protective of the sound they already have. So, I mean, it was easy. I thought it was very easy coming where, I was like, yeah, let's do a song. That sounds awesome. Send me one. Boom, there's a song. And then let's, that was almost a year ago.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we've been off and on working on this song for like a year.
Wow.
But that's kind of, maybe that's another conversation to have, but like that's kind of the beauty of the independent route.
I mean, I am interested in that, like how the song already, I mean, because it sounds like, like Phil, you came up with an idea, you guys laid out the structure, the basic structure of song, but where did it go from there? It sounds like you've been tweaking on it for a while. Did you, Geoff, how much were you involved in the tweaking of that arrangement, or was it primarily Mike and Phil doing the arranging, and then you came in to like say, hey, I think you could do this or that, or what? How did that work?
I mean, you guys by all means, share from your perspective as well, but I think there was one part I listened to the song over and over and over again, and I kept coming to this one part, and I was like, this sounds horrible. and I hit the guys up, and I was like, hey man, this part's not doing it for me. And then I was met with very warm and welcome criticism. However, like, there was this whole thought process, the theory behind it that Phil, started telling me about. And I'm kind of like, that hearing that side of it makes me want to figure out how to make this work for me, right? Like I'm assuming it's worked for you guys for a couple of years. But I didn't understand it sonically. I really didn't. I don't know theory. I play guitar and do vocals and stuff, but like I don't know anything about theory. So these guys start talking about that stuff, and it's like I don't follow. I don't follow. But no, the only tweak I think that we did to the structure of the song once I got involved was we extended the part.
Just before the first guitar solo, you kind of had like a lyrical idea where you wanted it to just be like almost a spoken word. So it was easy enough to accommodate for you just by opening up that space of time for you to put that in and then segue right into a guitar solo.
Yeah, and I think that we even messed around with the order of that change, and we all like instinctually gravitated to the same setup for it. It was like I like that one better. Me too. Great. That's it. Moving on. And I think that's it. I mean, what Mike sent me in Guitar Pro, it's not like it was something they were trying to figure out in Guitar Pro. Like they wrote a song and they tabbed it out in Guitar Pro. Like, so the song's been written the way that it is right now. I mean, at least since I've been a part of it, except for extending one little section.
That's crazy.
I really wish the moment Phil came over with his buddy they were supposed to help me with something. And if you can picture this like in a movie where everything else in the world around Phil is just moving at high speed, but he's on the laptop with formulas just going across the world. Like he stood sedentary on my couch for at least 8 hours. And then finally he's like, I'm done. And then he just left.
Wait a minute. So I'm very curious. What were you doing, Phil? I mean, were you like composing this like just by the notes that you wanted without an instrument in hand?
Yeah, so I write all of my music from the laptop.
Holy fuck.
And so yeah.
I'm wrong.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, one thing is I'm like Geoff said, I'm very theory minded, right? So if I have an idea in my head, I don't have perfect pitch, so maybe I can't tell like what notes I'm hearing, but I can definitely tell like what scale I want out of it.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm thinking of something, I can generally tell like that'll be using a Lydian like mode or a Phrygian dominant. Like that's how my brain works. But the advantage of writing things from the laptop is that I get to expand the playing style beyond what I can normally do with the guitar in my hand.
Yeah.
and that allows me to write a lot of stuff that challenges me. It certainly challenges Mike, because this is a lot more, I mean, it technical than say stuff that After the Miner did, or even my old band, The Realm Between. Right, like it allows me to really like expand what I do, but that is just how my brain works. I write all my stuff from the laptop because I know like what I want it to sound like. I just figure out what tuning I want to use, which is another great thing about like doing primarily YouTube stuff as opposed to like live gigging.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want this one in drop A flat, and I want this one in D standard 6-string, and I want this one to be drop tuned to drop E, you know, stuff like that. Like I get to pick and choose how I want the music to sound, and it doesn't all have to be like, well, if we want to go touring, we have to do the whole thing in drop D so that we don't need 7 guitars sitting in the back.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's how, and then I generally gravitate towards like a main component, right? So in this one, it was like using like major triad structures and going outside of the scale, right? That's probably like,
start augmenting it a bit.
Yeah. So say like, Phrygian dominant is like technically a major scale because it has a major third in it. Mm-hmm. For all the theory nerds out there, right? But you can pivot to like a B flat major, which isn't inside of that scale, but the way it relates to D, you can find it like in the D minor scale, right? And just stuff like that, like relating different modes and stuff, and centralizing it all to like our tonic point, which is D.
Yeah.
And that's what I went in. I'm like, I want to change. I want to go through as many scales as I can and relate it all back to our tonic center, which is why like what Geoff was saying about the first solo. Because the first solo is all about like jazz harmonic theory kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the 2 chords in the background are mainly just bouncing between like D7 and B flat major 7.
Yeah.
And my mind was like, I want to go through as many modes that just have those 4 notes, but all the other notes are different. Right. So you have some scales with like 8 notes, some scales with 6, some scales with 7. Right. And I just want to change that as much as possible so it sounds as chaotic and push-pully, and like it doesn't feel like you can actually rest inside of the solo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like it has a home.
It feels tense.
Right. Yeah, because that's like part of the narrative structure that I'm telling through the music, because like I'm not thinking about lyrics while I'm writing the instruments.
Yeah.
Right. So when Geoff tries to sing along with it, he's still in the like the structure of the chorus because it's the same chords. So when he wants to sing a note that he's familiar with out of the chorus, it doesn't line up with the lead guitars. And that
it clashes.
That sort of clash is like I can understand why he would be like, this is infuriating. And so obviously the natural result of that is like, let's just copy and paste it again, and you can sing over that part since you're already familiar with the chords, you know.
That's crazy. So like, but I'm curious, like, what do you think about like, so I get that you know, that you guys are, we know when you're composing and with the guitar, you're thinking, and I know I've seen your YouTube channel, which is awesome. It blows my mind because I am like probably more like Geoff. I don't really know a ton of theory. I know enough to be sort of, well, I don't really know hardly anything, but I'm always intrigued by like just, you know, virtuoso level guitar players that can do that. And so I get the idea of wanting to just, you know, play outside your boundaries and do and experiment basically and fuck around with all these different types of ways of approaching your music. But when you're doing that, like, I have to imagine you have like a concrete, like kind of a, I don't know, an emotion, a feeling that you want that music to convey. Is it like that, or are you really just trying to see like what you can do experimentally with the song structures?
I definitely go for like a centralizing theme, right? And that's like because the chorus would be a centralizing theme.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just D major to B flat major, right? You're using 2 major chords in the midst of all this chaos and like really fast drums and really just nasty verse riff and the pre-chorus and all the crazy augmented chords and all that stuff, diminished licks, whatever you want to say, like it always resolves into those 2 major chords that go back and forth. Right. And that feels like you've wound up somewhere in peace. So there's a centralizing aspect, and then there's all the parts you can build around that. Right. And the whole thing is, how far away can I go, especially with this song, is how far away can I go and still pull it back without feeling like I've completely lost the whole emphasis of the song.
Yeah.
Right. So and there is always, at least when I write original music, right, there's always a centralizing theme that you try to pull back to or gravitate towards, or like you're anticipating moving to, right? Tends to be my thing. And the stuff that's outside of the boundaries is a lot like lead playing and stuff like that, like
certain transitions and
most people who play lead guitar can do 3 strings per note, up a scale and down a scale and stuff, and it's like, how do I break apart that? Like, generally, right, you pick up a guitar and you just know, you just play a lick, right? It's in your muscle memory, you just have that. Like, how do I take the mold of everything that I feel comfortable playing and just make it so incredibly different that I really have to sit down and just really put a lot of effort into playing this.
Try.
This
was,
even when we were filming the music video, right, it's like most music videos, we're miming the song, but even that was a workout. Me and Mike left there like our hands were just tore up. It was crazy.
I might have gone fetal.
How many times did we go through it that day? I don't remember.
I want to say 8 times.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
like, and we each did an individual performance, and then we did one together, and then Phil and I did 2 apiece. So yeah, maybe 6 times, but still,
we did 3 together. We did 3 together because he got 9, because we had 3 cameramen. Right.
He wanted the 9 shots. That's right.
Yeah. 9 shots of the whole thing. So we did 9, where we did 3 collectively. And I think me and you did 2 individual shots and then 1 shot together, if I remember.
So that's like nearly an hour and a half of the most vicious assault on my hand ever.
The whole time, dude. Because I asked Phil one night, I said, do you have the pro tabs for this? He was like, obviously, and I'm like, if you're down, like, can you send it to me sometime? I'd love to try to pick apart some of these riffs. And he's like, sure, sends it right over. And I'm sitting there just like, what the fuck? I got a couple riffs coming along, but for the most part, it's well beyond me, man. Like, but even just hearing them playing their electrics, for the shoot, I hear it, in between takes and stuff. And it just sounds phenomenal. You guys don't even need amps. It's just great.
That's awesome.
That's usually how I practice at home too, is just no amp. I need to hear and feel every note that I'm playing with no distortion. That way I know assuredly, like, I am playing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So Geoff, what was the process like for you to mold the lyrics for this song? What were you thinking with there?
I think like there's maybe 2 aspects of it. For me, one is like kind of making melodies and rhythms and stuff work. And then after you've got a taste of what Phil is thinking, the intention. but it's a very thoughtful song, and I'm kind of like, I want to take that as like a respectful, challenge. I want to meet that level of respect. I want to be thoughtful about this. I want to follow a theme. I want a story. Which is not always what I've gone for. I mean, it depends on the project, but you know me from Speedgod. I mean, that was let's get drunk and scream. You know what I mean? And it was the best, right? But but it wasn't. And I am short selling that a little bit too. There's a little more thought in there as well. But
yeah.
But like, no, I wanted to. I wanted to come back into doing vocals again. Like, it's been 11 years at least since I've released anything that I've worked on.
Right.
And I wanted to challenge myself. I didn't want to do the same things that I was doing before. And one thing I'd never done before is sing. And I mean, dude, screaming, no problem. I'll do it. I'll do it for my kids' bedtime story. I'm totally comfortable with it. They might not be, but I would. Right. But for some reason, singing in front of people like scares the living hell out of me. And so I was like, great, let's do that. Because that's how you grow, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's two aspects of it. There's one, just making melodies work. And I tried to be humble about it, where it's like, if something's not working, it's probably my fault. I've never done this kind of thing before, right?
Right.
This is the first track you're ever gonna hear me sing on, And but then the other side of it was just trying to be thoughtful in terms of the lyrical themes. And so that was actually a question I wanted to ask Phil during this, but you asked him, did you have any emotion in mind when you had certain parts? I mean, especially towards the end of the song, it gets a lot more drawn out and melodic. And I have to imagine, because, even as a guitar player at a different level than these guys, but like, I do have an intentional, or at least I have something in mind, for a feeling behind a part that I write. Whether it goes there or not with the band is a different thing, but I have it in mind, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude, it was just a wacky experience. For the last couple of decades, if I was putting lyrics to songs, odds are I wrote a good portion of that song. So I haven't been able to be just the vocalist too often. And with this, I was kind of like, that's all I want to do. I want you guys to give me music, and I want to give you a vocalist perspective on it, and then like us to find what we like in the process of making it work.
Cool. Well, I just want to say, Geoff, that you're, I don't think I'd ever heard you do melodic vocals, and I thought they were great. And I was very happy that they weren't. So, no offense to any of you guys that dig some of the bands that do like kind of they're in the same sort of genre that you guys do, where they've got technical progressive, but then they tend to have like what I call boy band vocals.
Oh yeah, they church it up.
Yeah, where it's overly melodic and compressed and shitty, and I'm like, so
dude, you just boiled some blood in my realm of the world.
I can't get into it. But your vocals didn't do that for me, so I was so thankful.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's not even like the most intimidating part of it for me in general is trying to find my voice and putting something out before I think I've found my voice. Like I don't know that this is my voice or isn't, but that's what I did here, and that's why I love it. I almost hope that it's not my voice, because then this is even more unique and special. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I think like when you're saying that it's hard, like you can scream all day, but when you're trying to like sing, it's difficult. Like just because I would think it's vulnerable. If you're gonna sing, you got to be able to carry that tune, and you got to carry that note, and you can't be flat or sharp. Otherwise, it sounds like shit. So
yeah. I mean, I think you're exactly right, though. You are vulnerable. If you, I've always had a hard time with this question or this thing where somebody will come up to me, and usually like in past bands when I was touring full time, and they're like, can you give me pointers on how to scream? Like, can you teach me how to scream? And I'm kind of like, I really don't know what you mean. Because like I'm not a technique screamer. I hear well, I'm not going to get on that road, but
School
I grew
block?
up I grew up in like hardcore and punk, and it was yelling
Yeah.
and screaming, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I heard Josh Goggin from I heard him from Norma Jean and like Ludacris, but in the Chariot, and like that made it a little more metal, and like I kind of started getting more into metal, and but I stayed that the hardcore vocal style guy in metal or in metalcore, right?
Yeah.
And I think that served me well. You know, it's differentiated me from a lot of the people around me in the churched up metalcore scene, you know, which is a very real subgenre. It is very real, man. I lived in that place for a while.
All right. Crazy. Yeah. So you've got this one. Is there any plans to do more music? Are you guys thinking about working together some more? What's any ideas, plans?
I mean, Mike and I obviously we have a rough schedule for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We want to put out at least 6 songs, at least 2 originals, maybe a third. Geoff said he's open to doing more vocals, and I'm fine with him being on if he wants to be on.
Awesome.
But we haven't. I mean, we're from our next, because we want to do at least 2 months, because when you're dealing with like an algorithm like YouTube or Spotify or something, you want to be consistent, right? And our next 2 songs are video game covers, which kind of references, you know, like our Metroid Prime video and stuff, and just things that Mike and I have in common that are generally, you know, not too bad. I can find the melodies online and stuff, and I tab those out, transpose them to guitar, and then I get to kind of write a rhythm around it, which is the most fun part, is reimagining
what it could be.
Those kinds of melodies and stuff. So those are a bit easier to put together. Obviously, me and Mike like a lot of the same stuff, because I grew up watching him play GameCube, you know, so it's like, you know, that kind of stuff's there. And plus you don't get copyright claimed on video game covers.
Oh, really?
So not only are they not only are they easy to do, but they're safer
nice
to put on YouTube and Spotify, because generally, unless you're Sony, they don't put like Nintendo and stuff, like they don't put claims out on their music, on their original soundtracks. So when you cover it, like you're not sharing royalties, you're not getting claimed, you're not getting blocked in different countries. Like our Lamb of God cover is blocked in certain countries because we have a copyright claim on it, which sucks because it's our second highest view video, you know.
Man.
You know, that's just kind of the way the music industry seems to be right now. So you have to kind of play around it.
Yeah.
You know, and video games are notable. Like people know them. They're part of popular culture.
For sure.
So there's something to get you, like, garner you some gravity to get people to look at you,
and
while
also
still being
and just to get the, you know, and still be a fun project for you guys and be creative, right? Because you get to take something, you know, and then say, I'm going to riff on this thing and make it my own and make it cool. And by the way,
it's so incredibly fun.
I forgot to mention that that Lamb of God cover you guys did was fantastic, by the way. So I forgot to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. I re-listened to it today. I forgot how good it was. I was like, wow, I can't believe we did that.
well, after I got the song from Geoff, I was going back because I keep seeing, you know, on Facebook when Mike posts a video and I check it out. But I totally forgot about it. And then I went back a couple weeks ago and I was like, shit, this is damn good. And I meant to put a note on my fucking notes here. Failed, but you brought it up, so that's good.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, crazy. So I know, Phil, you said that, you know, you can pick and choose tunings and such so that you don't have to play live. Do you guys think you would ever like perform any of this music in front of folks?
We initially were given an offer late last year to play a show. And we're like, okay, let's do it. Let's go and play like 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah.
And the communication, you could tell, was starting to get a little iffy between people, and then it just kind of fell through. So like we were at a point ready to play a live instrumental set.
Oh wow.
But after that, there's really not been plans as of yet.
Okay. But it's not out of the question.
We both have drop tune pedals too.
Oh yeah, I have one
so
of those.
that kind of alleviates some of the stuff. So like if we have one song in like drop A on 7 and another song in drop G, it's as simple as dropping it a whole step, and you can
fucking drop G. Fucking
dude. Well, okay, so
Metroid was in G, I believe.
Really? Yeah, Metroid was in drop G. Our Lydian lesson that we had that had a section at the end where I used the pedal to tune my guitar down to drop E. And the song that we're looking to release in March, the whole entire rhythm section is drop to drop E.
Wow.
So it's just, it's low, but Joe Santangelo, right, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he just does such a phenomenal job with mixing. I don't feel scared to tune that low because I know the way he's gonna tighten it up, like, is just, it's gonna blow it out of the water anyway.
Yeah.
And I believe Joe, like with his stuff in Grave Bloom, he plays in tunings that low, so he knows where to go with that kind of stuff when mixing it. So I am just real comfortable with him handling our stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I saw Grave Bloom last year for the first time finally. They were awesome.
At the Sanctuary?
I think it was the Token with Finality. I think it was one of the
okay
shows. But yeah, kicked ass. It was, it's again one of those people, it's fun. You guys, I've seen you in person years and years ago, but mostly keep in touch through Facebook. And so Joe, he'd been a Facebook friend, never really met him in person. And then I was like, finally got to meet him. Like, hey man. Although I feel bad sometimes because I suck with fucking names, and somebody will come up to me and they know me. They just fucking know me. And they're talking to me and I'm like, and in my mind, I'm going, who the fuck is this guy?
Dude, I had somebody come up and hug me at one of Ivy's shows. Some point last year, it was, oh, hey, Jeff, and just came up and gave me this big hug. And we were backstage. So it was like somebody working security. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. And they know me to the point that they're comfortable to run up and hug me when I haven't seen them in probably years.
Oh, crazy.
Actually, funny is that I didn't meet Phil in person until we filmed this music video.
Oh, really? Yep. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we hung out with Mike a lot and the After the Minor guys. And then I know that we printed merch for the Realm Between, I think on 1 or 2 occasions. And so like Phil was always in the talks, and then Chris Finnison was always bigging up Phil. He's like, dude, Phil, you think I'm good? Dude, fucking Phil. And I'm like, you're Firefinger Finnison. So like, if you're saying it, then it's got to be something crazy. And then you hear what he sends you, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, the legend is true. And the hair is glorious.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny because we got there the day to do the video with Guru Productions, and I was like, hey Phil, by the way, hi.
Right.
That's awesome. So how was it working with Aaron over at Akuro? I love that guy, but how was the video shoot for you guys?
It was so easy and so quick.
Nice.
Like for how many times we had to play the song.
Yeah.
We were anticipating it to be like all morning, all afternoon. And it was like, I think we were all home by like 3 p.m. It was just that quick. We got there at 10 in the morning and we were done.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. What did we film for, like maybe 2 or maybe 3 hours?
Yeah, something
2.5. Right in the middle.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It was easy, super pleasant. I mean,
he's Aaron, right? Yeah.
Not free. I'm saying like free to do what you want.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just great. And then the product speaks for itself, obviously.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
I mean, it's awesome. The lighting is good. I mean, the black background and all the different shots. I know Geoff was like enamored with like the shot during the, I don't know, bridge-ish portion. I feel like there's 2 bridges in the song, so I'm not entirely sure how to address it. But it's like it's near the end, right? Where the chords are like huge and then it goes into the 5 section. Okay, right, that part, and the camera's over my shoulder, and then the focus like goes from the back of my head onto Mike's face and stuff. And you said that was a cool shot. I
thought it put the brothers kind of like as a unit somewhere. Like it I don't know, for some reason it stood out far more to me as like the brothers for a moment. Like that's the heartfelt moment to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, me and Mike all our lives have been told to play together. And like he joined after the minor. I joined the realm between when I was 18. And then we both played in those respective bands until 2020. And then, I mean, COVID shut everything down and we were finally like, okay,
what are you gonna do?
We might as well do something.
Right.
And that's how we birthed Caudle Bros music.
That's cool.
After years and years of being told that we should play something together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the pandemic did spawn quite a few things. This podcast is one of them.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Very cool, man.
Because I shot a bunch of shows and stuff, and then couldn't shoot any shows, so I'm like, the fuck am I gonna do? And then I'd been listening to there's a Matt, I can never remember his last name. He's a singer for the Canadian band Cryptopsy. And he
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he does that Vox and Hops podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. So I was, during the pandemic, I'm working from home. Me and my wife Brenda go out for morning walks, so we always listen to something, either a book, and I started getting into podcasts. And then Vox and Hops, is this, metal dude talking to metal dudes about, beer and music. So I'm, fuck, that sounds perfect.
It's my life.
Yeah. And they even had like these virtual hangs, like Thursdays. And so I did that and stuff. And so then I actually had him. He was like the 3rd guest, I think. But I was like inspired by him. I'm like, fuck. I mean, not that it's, he does a great job. He's like, it's a professional thing. But I thought, fuck, I could do something like that. So anyway, that's how
it's do you have fun doing it? And if you do, that's worth doing.
Yeah, that's what, exactly. Well, just like the concert photography thing, it's all about, for me, just raising awareness about local musicians that I think are like, I hate to say worth. Everyone's worth their, you're making art. Yeah, you're worth that. But I mean, for me, it's just people that inspire me or are, I kind of remember it's 30 years ago when I was in a band, but I remember what that was like. I remember what it was like to be, creating your own music, and that it's kind of cool when you can, when somebody else is kind of championing your cause. And so that's what I've been trying to do. And that's what I like to do with the show. So there you go.
We all appreciate you very much. And we see you doing that nonstop too.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just music either. I mean, like you're plugged into Michigan culture.
Yeah. Well,
in so many places, whether it's covering the 4 elf parties at the best brewery in this state. Or you're going out to shows or you're talking about, actually, I think one of the times that you and I did speak with each other since Speedgod's last show is you were giving me recommendations on parks.
Oh yeah, that's
right. Like parks throughout the state to check out. Like it was just maybe a private message or something. But I mean,
I thought I saw you and Ivy at a brewery because we met up at like not Holmes.
It
wasn't Holmes. It was another one over on the
next to the taco joint.
Yeah, which has changed names a couple times, but yeah, and you guys were just.
But that place is still there. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I remember that. Were you there with your son as well?
It might have been. I know Brenda was there. Can't
Yep.
remember who else, but yeah, it might have been.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but that was a while back too. I
Yeah.
mean,
I know,
you know,
dude.
but no, it's cool. I mean, I think one thing, one of the things that drives me to want to do this kind of collaboration is so like we all have moved on and have more responsibilities at this point in life. Phil, I know you have a kid, you know, I have a couple of kids, you know, so band world kind of looks a little bit different
Right.
for people in general because of, you know, like COVID and everything.
Right.
You know, or inflation, or you know, pick your problem, and there's
right,
you know,
right.
you could fall under it. But I kept thinking back to like, well, what, like really specifically, what is it that you think you miss about playing music? And I'm kind of like just being lost in like this. Sounds so hippie, but like, you know, I want to get lost in this vibe. Like I want to get
Right,
lost in
right.
something, right? And the this Caudle song is not the first one that I'm messing around with since, you know, starting to play around music again, but like it's definitely one that kind of gave me that old school dad smack up side of the head where it's just like, hey, you can do this again and you can do it different. And it can be something different to you now.
Yeah.
And the cool thing to me is that this is also the very first time I've ever recorded my own vocals. Like Joe mixed everything, but you guys recorded your own guitars, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys, and I think Phil did the drum programming. I don't remember. Did you guys play bass or program bass?
I programmed it.
Programmed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the only things that we're like really playing are, you know, are the things we are holding,
Right.
you know, and then the song. But sitting and coming up with parts, getting lost and trying to make something work, you know, performing and everything right here in my office, that has been life changing to me.
Yeah.
And I'm standing next to the one of the places I hate being the most, you know what I mean? Because we're here all the time. But, you know, maybe I sound old or something, but, you know, being able to do this ease of file exchange and like, you know, you can write music, you can be in projects virtually now.
Yeah.
Or at least it's easier to do it now.
It's so much easier.
And it's dude, it's fascinating to me. I mean, literally, we were on Facebook or something and decided to do a song, and then a song popped up, and now you're all working on this song that turned into a thing. Like,
yeah.
Well, you know, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I am fascinated by that too. I think it would be fun to like just dive in to understand that better, because I just find it blows my mind, because, you know, way back in the day when I started, there was no way to do that, right? There was like a cassette tape in a fucking little boombox.
You had to chisel it right onto the laser disc.
Right, yeah. See that note? Yeah.
It's a little flat.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's too late. It's on the stone. Fuck it.
You can't add to it, man. You can only get flatter.
Right. Oh, man. That's so awesome. So, you know, I'm curious about, like, you guys have created this awesome tunes, but I like to go back into the Wayback Machine. Like, how did you guys get into music? What was the, what were those kind of moments that like spoke to you and said, you know, I want to play guitar, or I want to play guitar and do vocals? Let's start with Mike.
So I honestly had no ambitions to play guitar or even get into music at all. Like, I've always loved music. My mom used to quiz me in the car and be like, you know, put on Banana 1015 and be like, who's this? I'd be like, that's Tool, or this is Korn. I'd be able to just recant music. And then I recall going up to Alpena to go hang out with my cousins for a week or two. And they're the kind of guys where they're so competitive with each other. And for whatever reason, they chose to learn guitar. So when I went up there, I was like, well, I want to learn now. So they gave me this crappy acoustic, and I learned how to play like some White Stripes, some Stone Temple Pilots,
Oh, shit.
Maybe Nirvana and Beatles songs. And then fast forward a few months, and I was playing System of a Down and Korn. And then a year later, I was playing an entire Lamb of God discography. And then
Holy crap, man.
10 years later, I finally decided to, go out on a limb and try and audition for a band. And that's when I met Nick and Dan from After the Minor, and, story kind of goes from there.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Fuck.
Yeah. And it was just like, now my cousins, I don't even believe play music anymore. So it's just, it's been 22 years at this point now.
Oh shit. That's awesome. Phil, how about you? What was your journey?
So, I mean, my dad and Mike's stepdad played guitar all through our childhood. He was in cover bands and
he shreds.
Yeah, he did the whole metal thing. He was, out in bars covering Metallica and Megadeth and
awesome.
His brother shreds too.
Yeah, Steve is good, and Chris plays too, right? That's our cousin, second cousin, something like that. But I mean, my dad's side of the family plays, and I can still find pictures of me as a kid, like holding my dad's like Eddie Van Halen rip-off guitar.
Nice.
But at 11, I got a drum set. Because when you're an 11-year-old boy, hitting things just sounds like a lot of fun. But actually the pivotal point for me from when I went from like, I really just want to play music, was when my buddy got, and we were 12, fourth grade, I believe. He got Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. And we played through the entire campaign. And like, I'm hearing some songs I had heard before,
right,
from, our parents, playing them or whatever. Like, Raining Blood by Slayer, One by Metallica, or, The Trooper by Iron Maiden, stuff like that. But like, you're playing a game that's based on the guitar. So it like forces you to listen.
Right.
I was like, shoot, I want to play guitar, pick up my dad's, Dinky Jackson and play it. And I was like, hey Dad, how do you play One by Metallica? And he's like, hold on. And he leaves for like 2 minutes, goes into his closet and like puts a And Justice for All tab book in front of me, flips open to One, teaches me, gives me like a 5-minute lesson crash course on how to read tab.
Oh shit.
And it was all over from there. I mean, it was like, I was learning One by Metallica, Master of Puppets, and I mean, and then I was learning like The Trooper by Iron Maiden or something. And it was like, hey Dad, like how do harmonies, or like Master of Puppets, right, has that harmony in the clean section. I was like, how do they do this? And then he was like, well, there's these things called scales. And then I just nerded out, and I've been learning theory ever since then. And they got me a Tascam 32 track.
Oh,
so
shit.
It's like a digital, digital DAW, like a physical DAW essentially, And I would just record stuff, like I was recording music because I was like, Dad, I want to play harmonies. And he's like, well, write something. And I was like, challenge accepted, I'll write something. And so I use Audacity, which is like a free software.
We know.
Just
listen here, Sonny.
all that stuff, I was using that, and I can still go to my dad's YouTube channel and find the first music that I posted that's mine.
That's awesome.
And just from there, that's why I write more music than I play, because I just found that niche, and like I can listen to someone and take that inspiration and write it down. And I don't necessarily have to just like go through and I have learned a discography. I've learned Edge of the Earth, Silosis. I've learned that whole entire album by ear. I just sat in my room as a high schooler and just learned the entire album by ear.
The fuck?
Kind of like how Mike
Isn't
that God album.
Isn't that Piers? Isn't a guitar player? Shit, they're Swedish, right? Aren't they?
English.
It's
Josh Middleton.
Oh, okay. Where was I thinking of like Pierre Nilsson or Pierre Nielsen? I thought he was in that band, but you even think of something else.
Maybe it sounds familiar, but I don't know where. he's from. But Silosis was my big like inspiration throughout high school and still is today. There's a lot of Silosis influence inside of Creation Transcended. So
oh, cool.
Yeah, that's kind of my story.
Awesome, man. Very cool.
I think Chuck, you're thinking of scar symmetry.
Scar symmetry. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Yep.
Per is Swedish.
Yeah, per. Yeah. Geoff, how about you?
What was the question?
What was your what was your early motivation to get into music? Guitar playing, singing. I don't know if you play other instruments.
I mean, if you could play a guitar, you could play a bass, but I don't know if you get to say you're a bass player. You know what I mean? Like, no, I mean, my primary musical interest has been guitar since I was, I think, like 13 years old.
Oh, cool.
I thought guitars were cool. My parents got me something from a friend at the church kind of thing. And my fascination with like electric guitar probably started there, but I was obsessed with bands like Sum 41 and Incubus.
Nice.
And I think somebody forgot one of the Van Halen greatest hits albums on cassette in my car. And I literally, that was the first cassette I've ever burned out. Like, it was the coolest, like, oh yeah, DLR until the day I die, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the Ice Cream Man. It's
oh,
just,
yeah.
you know, but though, I mean, you know, Mike Einziger from Incubus, the guys from Sum 41 and then Eddie Van Halen, like I tried learning their stuff. I learned how to read tabs, not tablature. I learned how to read tabs from those three bands primarily, and then just wrote. I mean, I've always been kind of like a kid lost in the dark with my instrument, you know, and I'm gonna try to find a way out, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know scales. I'm pretty sure I play scales, but I don't know what they are. Or at least, you know, I don't fall out of them too often. But
yeah.
No, I enjoyed being able to play along with the music that I was listening to.
Yeah.
And that was the instrument that I had. I wasn't a singer. You know, my brother played drums for a little bit, but it wasn't something he got serious about. So there wasn't a drum set around for very long. So that was just my way to participate in this music that I was listening to. And then it wasn't until I was probably maybe like 15 or 16 or something that I tried any sort of like screaming vocals. I remember the very first time I ever screamed to music. It was, do you remember the Christian music festival called Cornerstone?
No.
Yeah, it's something they did out in Illinois. The main one was out in Illinois for, I mean, several decades. I don't think they do it anymore, but randomly a couple of years in a row, they had two smaller locations for that festival. And one of them was near where I lived in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and watched Norma Jean play. Josh Goggin had already left Norma Jean. I think they had a guy out with them named Brad or something. But it was the first time that I saw like tight jeans, like the scene metalcore thing, which I have no problem admitting that's the route I went, man.
Yeah.
But it was at that festival that I got to watch this band called Beloved, which is like a melodic hardcore band, huge influence on my old band, Gwen Stacy. And then come to find out one of my childhood friends was a guitar player in the band. So like there was this connection that I had no idea was there, but like I had already fallen in love with this band. But Beloved was playing, and I was there with my cousin, and we're like getting amped, and then it comes into this real popular spot. It's like the tag, or whatever is like, you know, we were born for battle. And I remember just crawling up on somebody on the front row and just screaming at the band, just, you know, we were born for battle. And that was the first time I literally ever screamed along to music. And I was just like, this is my fucking life. You know what I mean? Like from now on, everything else is like, yeah, he's a screamer that does this other stuff. You know? No, I fell in love with it there. And then as a teenager, I started bands. We started playing shows. I met other bands. Some of them toured, so I started touring, and then it kind of just went from there. But I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is that the guitar gets me through my really crappy times it's always there for me. Like, so I will always love whatever guitar I have available to me.
Awesome.
So that's definitely where I lean for the emotional strength.
That's cool. That's cool. Awesome, man. So like what you know, kind of got it into like where you guys started, but what do you think is the key motivational factor for you right now to want to keep making music? We'll start again with Mike. What's motivating you today to want to do to make music?
I think just the dynamic of making music with my brother. Like, he's always there. He's way too smart when it comes to theory. He's like an alchemical just genius with theory and whatnot, like above my comprehension. But when he gets stoked for something, I get stoked for it. And then when he sends a product over, we can mull it over. And I just think the fact of learning new music, challenging oneself with what you can do.
Yeah.
That's such a big motivational thing for me. It's just like, I love that challenge. It's fun to see the end product happen. And, when other people enjoy it, then, it feels awesome to see other people get as stoked as you were.
Cool. Phil, how about you?
I mean, a big reason is it's just fun. I've always been a composer. I would consider myself a composer before a guitarist, because writing music is that fun to me.
I would agree.
But also, like, I see what I can do as a God-given gift. Like like Mike compliments me a lot. I don't know how I got this good. Like I was going through some stuff with like having to get my house like demolded and stuff like that as we were preparing for this music shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Mike labored for like 2 months over this song, and I like picked my guitar up for a week, and like, all right, let's hit this, start at half BPM and then work up. And like Mike nailed it and I nailed it too. And there's no reason really why I should be that good, except it, having a God-given gift that lets me be this good.
Yeah.
And I feel like to not use it, right, it's just one of those things. It's like, if I have it, I have to use it in some way. And just like seeing the few people who really listen to it and enjoy it and the finished product, and like people like Jeff and Joe and Aaron, like when they work with me and Mike, they're like, we love working with you guys. We love what you send to us. We love listening to it. We love putting our art to what you guys do. That warms my heart just as much as, actually making the music.
That's awesome.
So I think that's a big piece of it for sure. So
awesome.
Yeah, I think
Jeff.
I was gonna say, I think that the ability to man, how am I trying to say this? Like the ability to speak the language of theory and like to recall it, like it's not a big deal, like it is your tool, it's part of your tool set, is the reason that I would be, I would say, like, jealous, or inspired, by people like Phil. Because it is another language. Literally, right? Like, quite literally. And to have that at your disposal, it's, to me, it's not really any different than, like, I see stuff behind you, Chuck, like, gear that you can pick up and you have it. You can now do something with that because you have it. You have practiced it. You've worked on that craft. So it's really interesting to me when I meet people like Phil, who can recall that kind of thing in that sense, because it truly is foreign to me. Like, you say it, I understand the English words that you're saying to me, but like they don't mean anything to me, right? Like, Jeff, oh, you're in this mode, you're in this key, you're in this scale, you're in this whatever. I'm like, I don't. Sweet. I move on. You make me sound like I'm way better at something than I am. No, it's just really cool. And to get back to your question, I think both of you guys have said this at some point in your response, but it really is about getting to try new things, or to try them in new ways. I mean, this is the longest song I've ever done, which is a challenge in itself lyrically, because I'm not the repeats the same kind of stuff lyricist. That's just not what I'm drawn to. I mean, I think, the chorus is the hook here kind of a thing, but in a 9-minute song, how much time does that take?
Yeah.
But yeah, what drives me to do it? I don't know. I don't want to go down. I don't want to take up the whole time, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm reevaluating the place that different activities and different energy sinks, what role they play in my life, and then also, was I missing anything? For a long time, I've been going to school for a very long time, and so I haven't been playing music during that, and I kind of forgot about what I get out of being a musician. Processing emotions, exploring new sounds and interests, and then again, my favorite thing about all of this is the collaborative possibilities. I mean, it's nothing to collaborate now at all. There just has to be an interest and good communication,
right?
Which is challenging for a lot of people, but like, it's not been an issue here. Like, we were not every week reporting on the work that we did for an entire year on one song. It was, guys, I have no idea what to do in this part, no clue. I'm going to keep working on it. You know what I mean? And a month later, I tried this thing. I think I think I understand what you're getting at. Get the notes better, or can you hit this one on this part or something? And I go do it again, and we like it. It's just this like iterative process. I mean, we could have had this song done in a couple of months, probably. I know I did. I put the vocals down all the way up through the first solo. And the reason we ended up having, actually, yeah, I remember this now, because the reason that we ended up having this discussion where we did make a small change in structure to the song is because I just went and sorry about that.
That's all right.
Like, I did the first 2.5 or 3 minutes of the song in one go here one afternoon. Like, they sent it to me, and I'm trying to understand the song structure. I'm trying to find my anchor points in the song.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, getting behind the microphone and doing the first 2.5, 3 minutes of the song just spilled out. Like, the lyrics, the melodies, the patterns, everything. It was so instinctual to me. And then it was a hard brick wall. But like, pleasantly so, right? It'd be truly, and I've learned so much, going through this experience in many areas, like, again, recording vocals, writing interesting lyrics for 9 minutes instead of 2.5 minutes, like, or 3.5, whatever. But more than anything, it's that it's been fun growing as a musician, and I don't know a better way of doing that than collaborating with other people. So
that's cool.
To me, it's I want to say a lot of stuff, and I want to say it in really fun ways with a lot of people.
Awesome.
That's kind of where I'm at.
That's cool, man. That's great. I love it. Well, hopefully you guys will, there'll be a couple more tunes, with all three of you together. If not, I know the brothers will be cranking out awesome tunes. So it'll be, definitely be staying tuned on the YouTube site. I want to thank you guys so much for being on Fans with Bands. Really, really appreciate it. I've got one last question for you, and that is, pineapple or no pineapple on pizza? Phil.
Ooh, pineapple on pizza.
All right. Mike.
Pro pineapple.
Geoff.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Now that's kind of a cop-out answer.
I love both, pineapple? But I don't sit around thinking about pineapple on my pizza. But if you're gonna put it on there, I think you should at least grill it and then put it on there.
All right.
Fair.
What about you? Which one are you?
I'm a hard no pineapple because I am not a sweet and savory guy. I like savory. I like sweet. The two should not meet in my book. So.
Honey baked ham.
Honey bake. I don't like it. I prefer just ham, smoked ham, as opposed to. Don't put any honey in there. Don't put Do
you like sweet cornbread?
Although I am intrigued to try because I've been asking this question for a while, and there's some folks have mentioned, and I don't know if any of you guys like this, but it's jalapeno and pineapple on pizza, and I'm
into it.
I'm sort of intrigued by that. I'm sort of intrigued because
it's good.
Yeah, I might be able to get down with that.
I might be the kind of person that's probably going to eat any pizza.
Well, yeah, me too. I mean, seriously, yes. Like if somebody's throwing some pie down and it's got pineapple, I'll just pick this shit off. It's fine. So. Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for being on Fans with Bands. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us
so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, guys.
You guys take care.
See ya.
You too.
Good night.
Many thanks to Mike, Phil, and Geoff for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. I very much enjoyed talking with these guys about their new song, Creation Transcended, as well as the potential for more collaborations. Each of these guys are phenomenally talented and inspiring musicians. If you haven't heard Creation Transcended, check it out on the Caudle Brothers YouTube page. It's a fantastic progressive metal tune that will have you just screaming for more. Seriously, get on it. See the show notes for all the details and links. Bands are nothing without you, the fans. Purchasing music and merchandise is critical to their survival. If you can help out your favorite bands, please do. If you're in Michigan, consider following the Playing in Detroit Area Tonight and SE for Southeast Michigan Music Facebook pages. They are fantastic places for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your family, telling your priest, tell everyone, and leave a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jam.